Hey everybody, it's Sir Mr. Clean here, and we're talking about Octopath Traveler, Champions of the Continent. I am now over 128 hours into the game, and I wanted to do just a quick little video on the pros and cons and what I think about the game so far. Um, to start out, I'm loving it. It's probably, it is hands down the best mobile game I've ever played. I like it a lot more than the original Octopath Traveler, mainly for the story. The story in this game is not completely separated by all the different characters in the game, although there are specific quests for every character in the game. There is an overarching story that has chapters, and you follow it through, and it actually is pretty well written, and it's pretty fun. I've been enjoying it so far. I'm not completely caught up. Even after 128 hours, there is still a lot to do in this game. But the story is a huge driving factor for me as my enjoyment. I love kind of the classic, 2D turn-based RPGs, JRPGs, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Breath of Fire, Seventh Saga. There's tons more, Tactics, just all of these awesome turn-based RPGs. This is scratching that itch big time for me, and I'm really loving it. Plus, the HD 2D art style is awesome. I love it. It's super creative, and it really fits, I think, very well with like the next evolution in kind of classic pixel art JRPGs, for lack of a better description. So another thing that I really like about the game, besides the story, obviously, is the gameplay. I really feel like the combat is really good. I think they've taken it a step up from the first Octopath, especially having the 2 rows on your team. The ability to switch between those rows, have you do some healing when you're in the back row, and kind of avoiding being attacked. And then really just going all in with your front row. So there's not only find enemies' weaknesses and exploit them, it's also the timing of moving your characters to, from the front row to the back row at the right times to do debuffs or to buff your team or to just unload on an enemy or a boss or whatever. I think it's a really smart system, and I'm really excited to see more characters and how just more options and more skills become available throughout the life of the game. Because I know the game's been out in Japan for 2 years already, so we've got a lot to look forward to. And then beyond that, it's there's just a lot that can be done, which is going to be really cool, I think. Another thing I really like about the game is the progression. Early on, right from the beginning, you're constantly leveling up. Right now, max level is 100. As long as you have a 5-star character, you can get your character to 100. Each star has like a cap, so like 3-star characters cap out at level 60, 4-star characters cap out at level 80, 5-star characters cap out at level 100. I feel like I'm constantly upgrading characters, learning new skills. I think the skill trees are very nice. I mean, ultimately, you end up with all of the skills, so it's not like you can really customize your character. But you can choose which skills you take with you. You can take, when you get a character leveled up and awoken, you can take 4 skills with you. You get 4 skill slots. So you can kind of pick and choose for what you need to do. So if you're fighting a boss that's weak to certain things, you can switch up your skills and, kind of customize your team to what you need. So very typical JRPG type tropes, but in this game, they are much more prevalent. The weaknesses are like exploiting the weaknesses is the key. In other games, like Final Fantasy, for example, when you're playing just any of the old original 2D Final Fantasy games, enemies had weaknesses, but it usually wasn't that big a deal if you did or did not exploit those weaknesses. But in this game, it's absolutely crucial. So that's a really fun system, and the progression is so far has been pretty awesome, I think. I think the arena and the tournaments, the fact that they bring them in and they don't go away, so tournaments come in and they stay, Right now, there's 2 different tournaments that you can play, and once you beat the final boss of each of the tournaments, you get that character. So and it's a 5-star character, so that is a good way to even just grind for certain characters instead of having to like spend rubies or test your luck. There are just certain characters that you can just get, which is great. They're not always the best characters, obviously, but it fills out your team. It gives you some options, and I think that's great. I think being able to do that is a great thing. The crossover events, we're in the middle of our first crossover event right now, which is with Bravely Default 2. And if all the crossover events are anything like this one, I think they're going to be fantastic. So there's a lot to do. So, for example, one of the things that you get with each of the crossover events are specific traveler stories to those characters. So as you can see, the Agnes questline has just come out because Agnes just was released today. And you can do all the characters in the crossover events quest lines specifically, and they all reward like rubies and experience nuts and influence. And there's usually at least 4 parts to each one. There's usually a prologue, and then there's like 3 chapters. So you get 5 rubies for every single one of those, and they're pretty decent in size. And if you noticed, all of these traveler stories, I've got a ton that I still haven't done. I think I have like 30 travelers, probably more, probably like 40 traveler quests that I haven't done yet. So there is a ton of content. Even after being in the game for 128 plus hours, I have got so many quests that I still need to do. All of them are going to give me, each one of these is going to give me at least 20 gems, or 20 rubies. There's just a ton to do. There's side missions. There's the main story quest, which I haven't done. It seems like, and this game's only been out for 3 months, less than 3 months now, and it's tons of content. I think next week is the 3-month anniversary of the game. There's tons of content to do. So I've been very excited about the crossover events. There's 4 characters, 1 that you get for free by just playing the event. There's 3 that you can pull for. And then all of them have stories that you can play. You can play all of their prologues without having the character. And then if you get the character, you get 3 more chapters, 1, 2, and 3, to play with those characters. So it's fantastic. The other thing I like about the game is they give you free rubies like all the time. So every day you get 10 free rubies. Every 10th day you get 30 free rubies. Every day that ends with an 8, you get 30 free rubies. Every time they do an update, they give you 30 free rubies, which is sometimes weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, kind of depends. Every time and I'll talk about this later, every time they like mess up, they tend to give you a bunch of free rubies. On anniversary dates, they tend to give you like 88 rubies. So there's just lots of ways that they're just giving you rubies, which is great. Plus, you've got daily quests and things like that you can do to earn rubies, plus all the traveler quests and everything. So there's a constant way to earn rubies. Since I started the game at the beginning, it has at times felt a little slow as far as being able to earn rubies. But I think for newer players, the amount of content is crazy now already after just 3 months, that you'll earn a ton of rubies and you'll be able to do polls without having to spend any money pretty easily. So I've been pretty happy with that. So it seems like as it progresses, it's going to become more and more maybe free to play friendly, just because there's going to be so much to do and you don't feel like there's these droughts between content drops. Like right now, every time I do polls, it's using a good percentage of the rubies that I've collected. In some cases, all of them, nearly all of them. And it takes a while to earn those back. Right now, you're getting your ruby income without any additional quests, with just the dailies and weeklies and the things that they give you for just logging in every day. You can earn like 600-ish per month, which is 2 pulls per month, which isn't too bad. Because you do get, 10 characters. You have a decent chance of getting a new character until you have most of them. And then on average, the percentages of you getting a 5-star character are 1 every 5 pulls. So sometimes you'll get them a little quicker, sometimes you won't. Like the last pull video I did, I think I did like 6 pulls and I got like 1 5-star character every other pull, which is really good luck. But it can happen, and you can go on these little runs where you get a bunch of stuff and it seems amazing, and then you can go on these dry spells too. Hopefully tonight we won't hit a dry spell, knock on wood. We'll see what happens. So that's a lot of the stuff that I like about the game. In general, I'm very, very positive on the game even after 128 hours into the game. The things that I struggle with, though, let's talk about a few of the things that I struggle with. I love pulling and guiding characters. In other games I've played, like DFO, I love pulling for new weapons. In this game, right now, it feels like, and since I've been starting from the beginning, it feels like I don't get to pull as often as I'd like to. I have spent some money in the game, so I am doing like a single pull per day, because there's a thing in the game where if you use paid rubies, you can get them for a third of the price. So normally one single pull is 30 rubies, a 10 pull is 300. And they have a thing where if you use paid rubies, you can pull once per day for 10 rubies. So it's a third of the price. So I've been buying, 50 rubies here and there and then pulling daily. And then once you get to 30 days of pulling, 30 times that you've pulled, you get a free 5-star. So you get like 31 characters for a third of the price over the course of like a month. If you were to literally do it every day, every month you would get 31 characters, one guaranteed 5-star, plus the chance to get other 5-stars, because you could just pull a 5-star in your single pull. I've done it once, for a third of the price of normal rubies. So I've been thinking, yeah, it's not too bad. So I've put probably about $100, a little over $100 into the game so far, and I feel like I've absolutely gotten my money's worth because I've been having so much fun with it. So, like I said, it is early in the release cycle of the game, but I wish I could pull more often. I wish I could do 10 pulls more often and stuff like that, especially when I'm trying to, stream and create content and all that kind of stuff. The daily Kate fights and so like right here, the daily Kate fights and the daily Kate treasures, I wish they would scale. The Kates they scale with your team level, with like your entire account level. So you get more of the higher end Kates more often. But the Kate treasures don't seem to change. They don't seem to get any better. So like I'm still getting, 5,000 leaves, which is the currency in the game. And I've got like 10 million leaves. So 5,000 leaves is like nothing. It's totally just wasted. And for watching a 30-second ad, I don't want my reward to be a complete waste. So that's one thing I wish they would fix. I wish they would change it so that the treasures, you get more of the higher end treasures, the higher your level is as well, the more that you need. Or maybe even get rid of the 5,000 leaves, because there is like no reason to have 5,000 leaves. It is the worst thing. When I see that, I just puke in my mouth a little. The individual traveler quests. So the individual traveler stories. For all of the 3-star characters, except for the octuplets, because there's like a family of 8 3-star characters, and they're all related. They're all brother and sister. Aside from them, all the other 3-star characters and even some of the 4-star characters have basically like a recycled storyline. So once you play through them, each of the jobs, so like for an apothecary or for a merchant, every time you play through that quest line, it's like basically the same with some names changed. So like one of them is like the merchant is trying to get married, and in every quest I've played so far, they're trying to get married, and they're trying to get married to like this other merchant, and it doesn't work out. Spoiler alert. And that's how every single one of those quest lines are. So I wish there was a bit more variety and personality in some of the individual quest lines. So far, all the 5-star characters, and especially the crossover event characters, have been really good and really unique. The crossover event character quests have been fantastic. They're like set in the Bravely Default world. They have Bravely Default enemies. Like it's really cool. They're Bravely Default music. They just have done a bang up job on those for sure. But a lot of the little ones, once I played through them once, I was like, all right, this is the same thing, and then I just skipped through it just to get my rubies. And I don't like that. Like somebody took time to make these, and I wanna enjoy them. But if they're not enjoyable, I'm gonna skip through them. Another thing is FOMO is real in this game. Let me tell you. Um, there's daily quests. There's daily checking your daily mail. So like if you miss a mail like one day, like you miss 10 rubies. You miss 5 more rubies for doing your dailies. So like you can easily miss 15 a day by not just checking in for 30 minutes a day. So I've only missed a few days, but I've played almost every day for at least 30 to 45 minutes just to make sure I get those rubies, because I feel like I'm not getting enough and I want to pull more, so I do not want to miss rubies, period. The other thing is events. So like this Bravely Default event is just for the month of October. So if you miss pulling a character or doing some of their quests are time limited. So if you look at like this quest here for Agnes, you see that it says it's available until 11/2. So we have until November 2nd to do this quest. That's kind of a bummer. I totally understand it, but it's also kind of a bummer. Like it makes you want to play at certain times. So the FOMO is real. I for sure am a huge fan of getting as much as I can out of a game. Like I'll give you a little bit of a story. I was playing Hearthstone for like 2 years, like pretty hardcore. I would do Hearthstone like almost every day just to do dailies and just to get everything and make sure like every month I get my card back and all that stuff. Once I missed one card back, I almost completely stopped playing the game. Because I was like, well now, like I'm a collector, and if I miss one thing, I will never have that collection. And it just, for some reason, my mind just goes downhill so quick when I miss like that one thing that I needed for like a full collection. And like not going to BlizzCon or something. There's certain card backs and characters that you could get only by attending BlizzCon or whatever, right? And so I was like, if I don't have all of these, then what's the point? Like I'm collecting things in this game, but if I miss something, then I no longer am going to have a full collection, and it seems pointless. I don't like feeling that way, but that's just the way I feel. Yeah, games need trading for sure. I would support that. I feel like I want to create a game that kind of fixes some of those things that I experience. I think that would be cool. And then the other thing that I've struggled with in this game, and this is the last thing that I'll talk about, is some of the missteps. So anybody who's playing the game knows that in Japan, when they did this crossover event, they did the step up banners in a certain way. When they launched Adele's step up banner at the beginning of the month, they totally did it a different way. They made her step up banner, and it's still there. They haven't like undid it. But if you look at Adele's step up banner, her banner is completely pay. So in Japan, in the Japan version of this crossover event, these were not all paid rubies. You could use the free rubies that you've earned. And the other thing was at the very end, the 5th step, it was supposed to be a 50% chance to get Adele. And in this version, I don't think they changed it. I think the rate is still, I think it's still like 15% or 5% or something like that. But it was supposed to be 50%. And so for the next two, so for Edea and for Agnes, they changed it and they made them free, just like they did in Japan. And they made the chance to get Agnes on the 5th step to be 50%. Same with Edea. So because they did that, they rewarded, or they gave everybody, I think they gave everybody 300 gems or something like that, as kind of a apology. But they've done this a couple times. Like they've had misspellings or misstatements on certain communications, and they've had to backtrack it and then give us kind of like some compensation for it. Although I like the compensation, I don't like that I feel like they are trying to gouge the global market a little bit more than they were doing to the Japan market. I get, business pressures. I get that they have it, Square Enix has investors. I get that stuff, but when you sacrifice your community, when you prioritize that kind of stuff over your community and just treating them well, it leaves a bad taste in people's mouths for sure, and it's sometimes really tough to recover from. I'm sad that I probably won't get Adele because I didn't have 1,200 paid rubies or 2,400 paid rubies to do that. That's like hundreds of dollars. Like, that's just not even realistic in the slightest. I like it when you kind of have the best of both worlds. Like, the folks who want to pay to make that easier can do it. The people who want to grind for it or want to take the time to earn all the rubies and just get it, I think they should be able to do that too. I'm much more for like pay for convenience than, and it was just unneeded. That's not what they did in the Japan version. For some reason, well, that's the choice they made. It was very strange. I think that's about it. I think that's it. Overall, I'm still very positive on the game. I love it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I hope that it continues to grow and get better, and there's more places for us to earn gems, and there's more awesome character crossovers. Like, I can't wait for the Nier crossover. There's going to be I'm sure there's going to be an Octopath 2 crossover. I think there's going to be just a lot of cool stuff coming up, and I'm excited for it. So thank you for, watching the video, checking it out, and yeah, we'll see you soon.